about the problem that we have about the feral cats in the borough of Roselle Park. To be honest with you, the first ordinance that was put through, I shot from the hip. There was a lot of things that I didn't know about. So with the help of the organizations and some people throughout the country, and I do mean throughout the country, I've been getting phone calls from all over, with the help of this. So the new ordinance is in the back, on the back table, if anybody wants a copy of it. It will be, where's my copy? It's the new ordinance is number 2397, 2397. It's on the back. It shows what we will be. We had the first reading, and the first reading only. That was to introduce it, okay? But due to the large amount of questions and mistruths on both sides, I decided to call a workshop tonight. There will be a second workshop on April the 12th. It's a Saturday from 12 to noon. The reason why I try to do that is that people work during the week. They're off the weekends. They can't make the nighttime. So some people can't make it. So I'm setting up 2 different workshops, okay, to give out the information of trap, neuter, and release. What will happen is after the second workshop, the ordinance will come up for a second reading. The second reading is where the public, you people, anybody else, has the right to come up, sit here for 7 minutes, and give your pros or your cons, your yeses or your nos. Okay? So that will be later on, right after the budget. So we introduced it the first time to get it rolling. We tweaked it. It's on the back. We will be working again on the second workshop in April. And then when the second reading, there'll be ample time for everybody to come forward and give their yes, their no's, their pros, their cons, whatever you want to do at the meeting. And the mayor and council will decide after everything is heard. And just remember one thing, folks. Okay? We have a strong council, weak mayor. It takes 4. I apologize. I apologize. I hate this phone. I give it to a 3. I give it to a 7-month-old, and they would, not handle it. Okay? It takes 4, folks. It takes 4 council people to pass the ordinance. I'm only one. I'm introducing it. It's up to council. Okay? I will personally tell you, I've been the animal control officer. This is my 6th year, and every time that we trap an animal, we take it to the Woodbridge, who we contract with the borough, and after 6 days, if it's not either adopted or whatever, it's euthanized, aka killed. And I'm tired of having animals killed. So we have a problem. I thought this was the good, I think that this is the best way to handle it, and the truth. So that's the reason why I have my good friend Jane, her assistant. They will be doing the slide projection. They will also be taking later on, we'll be taking answers. They may help you, and if they can't help you, I will try to do, what I can. So I will turn it over to Jane.
Welcome everybody, thanks for coming out. Obviously Carl covered most everything that I was going to say, so I'll keep it short and let Valerie get to her presentation. We're just going to do a basic overview of what is TNR, its trap, neuter, return, so that you have an understanding of what it is exactly that we're talking about here. And then after she's finished, we'll be happy to answer your questions. Carl will be here too. So between the 3 of us, hopefully we'll be able to address your concerns and give you some answers, because, you know, this is not a decision that should be taken lightly, obviously, but it is important for you to do something about the feral cats in Roselle Park. If we do nothing, it's just going to get worse. So I'll just hand it over to Valerie and let her get started.
Okay, thank you everybody for coming tonight. They said we're going to be talking about feral cats, stray cats, the definitions between, you know, to separate those two. How many of you guys are pet owners? Pet owners? Cat owners? Yeah, great, great. So the difference between a stray cat and a feral cat, stray cats are an owned cat that has maybe gotten loose from its owner, walked off with its property. That's considered a stray cat. It could be trying to make its way back home. It could have been abandoned and doesn't have a home to go back to. But feral cats, for the pet owners, keeping your animals from becoming stray animals is really important. Having your pets fixed, spayed and neutered, so they have less of a tendency to roam, is really important. Having collars and ID tags, microchips. Keeping your cats indoors is also important. If you're a cat owner, you can, you know, give your cats a perch by the window instead of letting them roam outside. And also, you know, making sure your cat is fixed is very important. Solving behavior problems instead of, you know, maybe giving them the boot outside, solving those problems. Feral cats, on the other hand, are a little bit different than stray cats. The definition of feral means that the animal is a domesticated animal, but it has reverted back to a wild state. So feral cats are unsocialized to humans. They have never had, you know, close contact with humans. They've never had a home to live in. They were born outside to a mother who has never been socialized to humans. Feral cats will stay near people because people are a resource to them. Whether you feed the cats or not, you or your property can become a resource by providing shelter, either, you know, accidentally or on purpose. You know, cats are going under sheds, under porches, and things like that to make homes. They're going to stay near people, so they're not out, you know, living in the wild. These cats aren't going to survive, you know, out in the woods with no humans to be a resource. Cats outside, feral cats, they live in a colony. A group of cats is called a colony of cats. They very often have caretakers that are taking care of them. Those caretakers also, we're going to talk about taking the step to spay and neuter colonies. Feral cats can't be easily socialized to live in a home. The outdoors is their home. That's where they were born, raised, that's their home. The original, you know, feral cat started somewhere from being an owned cat, from being a domesticated indoor cat that was either let outside to roam, being unaltered, or, you know, just simply being lost or abandoned. You manage cats differently, whether they're stray cats that have had a home or feral cats that are truly feral. Cats that are simply lost can go to the shelter and be adopted. They can be put into homes and be comfortable living into homes. There's rescue groups that will take in, you know, adoptable cats as well. Feral cats, on the other hand, you know, trap, neuter, return is the way to control the population of these cats so that population isn't going out of control out there. We use humane traps. We get them fixed. We vaccinate them for rabies, and we return them back outside to their home. We have a video from the Humane Society of the United States, and it's about 15 minutes. We've all seen feral cats here in Roselle Park, right? Yeah?
Yes.
Well, we've all seen them. There's a rough estimate of how many cats, how many feral cats you guys have here in Roselle Park. We an estimate between about 1,000 to 2,000 cats, based on the population of your town. That's a lot of cats. What TNR does is, like the video said, it reduces the number of feral cats out there immediately through adoptions, through adult cats that might be adoptable. Maybe they were friendly before they were let outside, so they can be adopted into homes. And also right now, this time of the year, you're going to have a lot of kittens being born. So that estimate number of how many feral cats you have is even going to go up higher because of all the kittens that are born. Kittens have a very high mortality rate. They don't all survive outside. So with TNR, you're immediately removing some of the cats, and you're also stabilizing the population that's out there. So if you have, say, 1,500 cats this year, by next year you might have 1,800 cats. So through TNR, once everybody is spayed and neutered, they're also vaccinated, that number's not going to grow anymore, which is what the goal is. These cats are already out there, so stabilizing the population so the population doesn't continue to grow is what the goal of TNR is. It's humane, so cats aren't being picked up and brought to the shelter, and a lot of these cats are being euthanized because they're not social enough to go into homes. In New Jersey, there's about, I don't know, what Woodbridge, what their policies are, or how many animals are euthanized, but in New Jersey, there's about 22,000 cats that are euthanized every year. And that's due to the overpopulation from, the feral cats, cats being let outside, cats not being spayed and neutered. So advantages of TNR, it's humane. The numbers are naturally going to go down. Once the population is stabilized outside, the population naturally goes down. TNR leads to healthier cats. They're being vaccinated, especially for rabies is the most important. So they're not contracting rabies or distemper. And by spaying and neutering, you're also getting rid of a lot of the nuisance behaviors that people complain about. The male cats spraying, their urine has a very strong odor when they're not fixed. The male cats might be fighting for mates, fighting with each other. The female cats are going into heat and yowling outside. So through spay and neuter, a lot of those nuisance behaviors are reduced. The ear tipping of the cats, for the feral cats, their left ear gets tipped. So about a centimeter of their left ear is, the top is cut off in a straight line, and this is to identify a cat that's outside that's already fixed. Having the cats there is a source of rodent control for your community, They do kill mice, rats. TNR is also less costly than housing and euthanizing a feral cat. And also having your animal control officer having to go out and pick up feral cats. In general, the number of euthanasias is going to go down. Volunteers can be found to do it. If somebody's taking care of a colony, they should be taking the next step to fix that colony as well. The disadvantages of TNR is that there are still cats out there, but it's impossible to find enough homes for all of the cats, for the 2,000 that are just in your town and the tens of thousands and millions that are across the country. The cost of it, but that cost is still less than having to euthanize these cats. Like the video said, it doesn't address the root of the problem, which is people are still allowing their cats to be unaltered and roaming outdoors, which needs to be addressed. Spay and neuter needs to be promoted. If TNR isn't done properly, or if feeding or colony care isn't done properly, it can attract wildlife. Through the ordinance that's trying to be introduced here in Roselle Park, It is going to be written into the ordinance that you can't leave food out all day, so you're not attracting wildlife. You know, the food needs to be not left out at night. It only needs to be left out for a certain amount of time for those cats to eat, and then it's picked up. Other methods, there's not really much going on in Roselle Park, from what I understand, to control the population now. You guys have, you know, one animal control officer, and you have 2,000 cats out there. I think he's outnumbered a little bit. So feeding bans, trapping and removing the cats don't work. Like I said earlier, cats congregate around some sort of resource. So if we remove those cats from that area, new cats are going to move in because they're still breeding in the areas around that resource. Doing nothing does not work. These cats aren't going anywhere. They're not going to go away. They're not just going to simply, you know, oh, I'm not getting fit here, and they're going to move to somebody else's town. They're going to be here. They're going to be around us. If you want suggestions to try to keep the cats out of your yard, if you're not the one that feeds these cats and you don't want them in your yard, there are ways that you can keep them away from certain areas through deterrence. There's motion-activated sprinklers to actually train the cats not to come off your property. There is, you know, certain scents that cats don't like, so they're going to stay away from those areas. There is a brochure or a printout in the back with suggestions to keep cats off of certain parts of your property. What People for Animals has to offer is TNR workshops to teach people how to properly care for colonies, how to safely and properly do TNR. We do have a trap loan program. We offer spay-neuter services and wellness services for feral cats. Here's our contact information. And also, if there's a survey in the back, if you guys wanted to fill that out for me on your way out, there's pens back there. And I'd love to hear if you guys have any questions or concerns at this point, what we can answer for you. We will do our best to answer all of your questions, concerns, anything. So, yeah.
I don't know where to begin with this.
Okay.
How many cats would be in a colony?
Colony size, there's no specific number that are going to be in a colony. You can have a colony of 2 cats living in somebody's backyard. You can have a colony of 30 cats living in more of an industrial area.
I think we're scheduled to have 1 colony.
No.
Several.
The colonies are already there. This is what we wanted to clear up. The colonies already exist, and TNR is a method that will help to stabilize the colony size so that it doesn't continue to grow. So we're trying to reduce the number of cats that are out there. We don't want them out there any more than
What
anybody
I'm
else.
asking is, is going to be one place for these
No.
cats?
No.
They
There's
live
not
where
going to
they
be,
live.
there's not going to be one designated area where we're going to move all of the feral cats into that area. These cats are already established in their territories, and whether their territory is someplace small, like a backyard, or their territory is larger, like a larger park or something, that's that cat's territory, and you really don't want to remove it from their territory.
Does the caregiver stay the entire length of the time of the feeding?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way we train how to do feeding for feral colonies, they put the food down, they stay while the cats eat, and they pick it up before they leave. So food is not going to be left out unattended for other wildlife to get in. You don't want to attract other wildlife to your colony.
You said there's ways to deter cats from coming on your property. As a taxpayer, I'm paying enough taxes. Why should I have to spend my money to keep those cats off my property?
Well, do you have cats in your yard right now? Are there
There was
cats
an
in your
incident
neighborhood?
around a neighbor of ours.
So was it
But
was
that
someone's cat?
people were putting, she was putting food out for wild cats.
Okay, so the cat is already there.
They were, now they're not.
Okay, so they were removed. So there's no colony in your neighborhood?
Yeah, I know, no.
Okay. If there were a colony, I would think that you'd be seeing the cats already. So if you're not seeing cats in your neighborhood, there's no reason to think that there's going to be cats there just because this ordinance is enacted. This ordinance is addressing the cats that are already there. Cats are not going to be brought in from other areas. It's to address the cat colonies that are already existing. Carl has mentioned a couple of locations in Roselle Park that have colonies that are already in existence. We're not proposing that we establish colonies where they don't already exist. Do you follow me?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Also, from a sense of community, you know, you obviously care about your town, you live here, you pay taxes here. These cats are going to multiply, okay? So your animal control resources will go up. Say, like I said, if we have 1,500 cats now, we have 1,800 cats by next year, we might have 3,000 cats by the year after that. So eventually, you're going to need more animal control resources, not just what you have now, which means you'll end up spending, the town will end up spending more money, and they'll have to take that from somewhere, or they'll have to, you know, charge, you guys more money.
And there's ways that you can deter a cat from coming on your property without spending any money. There are smells, coffee grounds on the ground. You know, just take your own coffee that you brewed your cup that morning and sprinkle it around the corners of your property, and that'll help to deter them. There's a number of different things that can be done, and People for Animals is willing to do these kinds of workshops. So we just gave you a brief overview today, but there are a lot more things that we can talk about.
In the instances where there are colonies, and there's species and spraying, are the caregivers going to help the homeowner by trying to get rid of that odor?
The requirement in the ordinance, as it's written and as it's going to be introduced, is that any visible feces are going to have to be removed within 48 hours.
I'm sorry, that's not good enough. I mean, if I had a colony in my neighborhood, which I don't know, you know, there's only 4 houses on my particular little street, or lot. 48 hours is not good enough. I'd want it done immediately. So my next question would be then, are the caregivers on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to address these issues?
There are volunteers. These will be volunteers in the community that are willing to give up their time and their money. They're going to be paying, this is not going to cost the township any money.
I
They
understand
have
that.
to pay for it themselves. So these are volunteers from the community that will be doing it out of the goodness of their heart. So, no, I don't think they're going to be sitting there 24 hours a day.
As far as I know, the ordinance, any complaints that you would still have would still be done in the same way that they are now. You know, whether that's through whoever you call, your animal control officer or your health department.
Sure, absolutely.
What happens if it's there now? When the cats were there and the cat pooped, who did anything? Who did anything?
Well, if it was on,
Who did anything?
I would have picked it up myself.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. But if you would have done it, would you have done it right away? Or whatever.
Absolutely.
What I'm trying to sit back and say is
I
that
had
at least the caregiver is going to be there doing and picking up. The problem that I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is that there is problems out there, and they've been pooping and peeing and doing this stuff, and it's just going to stay there. Nobody's going to make an effort to take care of the problem. At least here, what I'm trying to do is get the caregivers are already, which I have 3 to 4 of them already, are willing to go out and do that. Where now, if there was nothing, if this ordinance never came about, there'd be nothing. There'd be nobody out there picking up, or unless, again, you were kind enough, it was on your property.
You know, it's a matter of pride, you know, and I mean, at one point I had 2 dogs. I mean, it was still warm as I'm picking it up, okay?
I'm the same
And I
way.
literally had to follow a neighbor to their house with a bag of it to say, this is yours now in a bag, but it's not gonna happen in a bag again.
I've done the same thing.
So,
But right now, as far as time frames and so forth and so on, if the ordinance wasn't there, there'd be nothing being done about it.
my next question is, if it is really so important, why isn't it on the ballot and have the residents vote, yes or no?
Put what on a ballot? Am I gonna, because to be honest with you, I can't put everything on a ballot what the people want, don't want. Do you, I wanna pave East Colfax Avenue, do I have to put that on a ballot to get that done? I mean, it's an ordinance to try to solve a problem that's been out there for 112 years. I'm just trying to come up with an idea and a resolution, and believe me, I can tell you, I've been on this thing since it was first introduced, the first one. I've got the both pros and the cons. I looked up both. And we have a problem. And there's nothing being done about it. All I'm trying to do is come up with something that's at least manageable, that you can see,
It's gonna
depending on who you are, because there's people, because, you know, I've got people out there, kill them all, okay? Like I told you, I've been animal control officer, this is my 6th year. And how many animals that I put, I just don't want to do it no more. There's a problem, I'm trying to address the problem, and to get the information out straight, that if it does, at least we have something that we have. Right now, we have nothing. We have absolutely nothing.
Part of the
You have,
issue,
anybody else in Union County, any other municipalities have this?
Hillside is considering it, there
Doesn't have it
are
right
a lot, no, but it's being introduced this coming Monday, I believe, is that
Can I
right?
say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just came to know, I live in Hillside. I bought my house probably like 18 years ago. Purchased my house, my backyard, it was 3 kitties there. I tried to, when people from animals pay for my own money because I couldn't dare to kill them, but I want to do something. And then I realized where cats coming all over. My 2 lovely elderly neighbors, they told me they have a mice and rat problem, I don't know. So many years ago, they brought 2 cats. This lady feed the cats, spaghetti, whatever, the cats were multiplying. I realized that every female cat will have like 2 litters of cats every year. And I couldn't do anymore. I started crying because I have a little boy, I wanted to enjoy the backyard. But I didn't want to do the responsible well. So I started making calls. People for animals, alley cats, let me tell you, it was cats coming all over. They all were trapped. It wasn't not even just my block, because I was so many trapped in my backyard or surrounding. There were more coming, so I found out there were more colonies around. So I did all that. I'm talking about 17 years ago, 16. My oldest one is 21. I only have 4 cats left.
And that's what a program like this does. Like they said in the example in Massachusetts, when they started with 300 cats, and I think the example was about 10 years later, they were down to 6 cats. You know?
There is no the fighting anymore, no the spray anymore. Yes, the pool, it is there. I clean it, my neighbors clean it. Every person that I know, they were thankful because at least it was done something. Because everybody complains, but nobody wants to do anything. The problem was growing up, and I want my kid to play in my backyard. When I start trapping all the cats and talk to the neighbors, and I say, because the cats is not the problem, it's the people that drop the cats outside. So the people, that's so sad.
But when your town gets an ordinance that says you have established cat colonies and you're allowing it, that's what's gonna happen. Other people from other towns are going to come and just drop their cats
They're doing it now.
where you are.
They're doing it now.
I don't think.
I had a senior
same
citizen let the cat go out the back door because she couldn't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
And that is
She let it go, right out the back door. She says, go, I can't afford it no more. And let it go. How many times we see after a major storm, animals that get left behind because their owners can't do it? There's no homes anymore. The woman called me, she says, I let it go. I can't afford it no more. Okay, so now she can't afford it, but now it's out there wreaking havoc for somebody else. I don't know what that cat did. I don't know if it was vaccinated. I don't know if it was licensed. She just let it go, like everybody else does.
These 2 pages are all of the towns in New Jersey that have TNR ordinances. And I can tell you from working with these municipalities, that doesn't happen, and I'll tell you why. Right now, as Carl was saying, animals are being dumped in Roselle Park. And I guarantee somewhere in Roselle Park, an animal has been dumped at least once, probably in the past week. Nobody is watching what's happening. But when you have caregivers watching their colony, they know their cats. And if one appears that's not their cat, they're going to know that it's there, and they can contact Carl. They can pick it up, they can, they can trap it, scan it for a microchip, see where it came, if it's an owned cat, and get it back to the owner. Right now, nobody's watching. But if you have common caregivers, they will be watching, so you'll be able to know if this is happening.
And who's in charge of the caregiver to make sure they're doing what they're doing?
Your ACO. They
One
have to
person is
report.
going to be in charge of
They
all
have
the
to
caregiver.
report, well, they'll have to be, the ordinance requires them to report their colony numbers and other information, vaccinations, spay neuter, all that stuff, to council twice a year.
And the
Only
reason,
twice a year? When you have these big cat colonies, only twice a year?
Well,
Well, right
semi-annual
now you
report.
have one guy and you have,
nobody, they're not getting
2,000
any
cats.
Are
information.
those records for public knowledge also? or-
Sure.
They would be Oprah.
Sure. That's the reason why, one of the things that I have that I want to speak about was cost. Okay? When I came on council, we were dealing with a company in Newark. And for the X amount of dollars, I went out and got other towns, and we come up with Woodbridge. It was almost $16,000. I don't want to, whatever it was a considerable amount of money that we saved. Every year when we negotiate the contract with Woodbridge, part of the deal is that for a few times, and you're going to hear me say I go out and I make a thing with Woodbridge where if it's something they don't have to bring their guy from Woodbridge in a van to drive to Roselle Park to do something, I go out and I do it, which I have done. I've gotten phone calls 11 o'clock at night. I've gotten phone calls early in the morning. I've said to myself, look, I'm sorry, I'm in a wedding. When I come back, I'll take care of it. So I try to do this, okay? I even went out and bought my own traps because there's only I think, what, two in Roselle Park? Two that you can come and rent. I mean, you as a homeowner can come down to Borough Hall and take out a trap and put it on your property to catch whatever animal that you're looking for. So since it was only two, I went out and bought my own, because technically there are rules and regulations for how long an animal can stay in the trap. Okay? Because it's on a hot day, if it's in the trap for X amount of hours, it's not humane. So I go out and buy my own trap, and I tell, can I use you? I can tell Danny, trap is set in your backyard for your whatever animal you're looking for, possum, raccoon, cat, dog, whatever. I'm not going after the coyote. That's a little bit out of my range. Okay? So, if he calls me and says the trap is filled, the trap's got the animal in the trap, I go and I take it. Then I drive it to Woodbridge. Or if it's a wild animal, a squirrel, a raccoon, I give it a new home in Warnaco Park. Because I'm not going to take it to Woodbridge to have it euthanized. That's just me. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to add, I'm one of the crazy cat people. And there's something about us that you were saying about a caregiver. If they were sick for a day, there's something about us, you make a phone call and somebody is right there. It's all volunteer. We back up each other 100%. I just can't say enough about how TNR works. I'm from Minnesota, and I did it there, and I just can't say enough. Every negative you have, there's a positive. When it comes to the cat feces, they're there now. At least in the feeding area, they'll be picked up. There really is no negative. It's a win-win situation. Money-wise, you're saving the county money, the township money. It's all volunteer, and in fact, I want to talk to, get like a 501 plan going, to an organization to help fund this, like a Kickstarter, and have everybody help out money-wise, just not the borough.
The cost of the program, okay, is gonna cost you, the taxpayer, and I am a taxpayer, zero. 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 Zero, zero, zero. I volunteered to take charge. I volunteered to give my time to go out and do what I can, okay? The caregivers, all right? So forth and so on. They, with the help of these organizations, do it either voluntarily or they do it at a reasonable, a discount. So it's the caretaker that's paying, not you, not me, okay, it's the
How many
caretaker.
caretakers are there?
Huh?
How many caretakers?
Right now, I have 4 that are volunteering, that would volunteer. I have 4 right now that would volunteer.
What about licensing? Because now we have an ordinance that you can only have so many animals in your house.
That's not gonna change. That's gonna stay the same. You're still gonna have to license your pet cats. Feral cats fall like under a different category as far as cats.
They would have to be registered.
They would be registered, and that caretaker is gonna
So
have
it's
to.
not,
I don't think that's
licensing.
fair, myself.
It's not licensing, and we're thinking of licensing, but it is a registration.
But the people who have these other animals that have to play by the rules.
That licensing is so the town can make sure that everybody has their rabies vaccine. So that has to be done once a year. The registration for the feral cat colonies is gonna be the same thing. It's
So
gonna be, so.
They have to have.
They have to proof of rabies
Right,
vaccine, and that's
So
the same thing
all
that the
the
license
cats
is.
that they have now, these people that have these established ones, have to get them all
Registered.
registered,
They have to be
vaccinated, and
and
neutered.
fixed. Absolutely.
And they have to keep track of every single cat in that colony.
Yes, they do. Yes.
And do they
That's
do that?
how the
And it's-
ordinance is
and it's
written.
been done.
Right now, they don't
Places-
because it's not required.
Right now,
Places like New
there's
York
nothing.
City-
There's nothing.
There is nothing. There's nothing out there. There's nothing. Nothing.
Places like New York City.
There's
can
nothing.
do it.
That's why we're trying to
Without
get
parking.
something established to get that.
Right.
That if somebody
This
comes up and
ordinance-
says, hey, you know, my child was over here, and technically, the biggest thing that I'm hearing is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I did my own research, a feral cat does not want to be with humans. So the little child that's out there at the ball field, because there is a hell of a lot of cats up at Webster Gardens in the DPW yard, trust me, that if the child is up there, if they see the cat's going to run unless it is cornered.
Which it's really hard to corner. a
Which,
feral cat.
right, because they know every
Which
ins
is
and
why
out.
we have
So,
these
yes,
traps.
and of course, now my question would be, if that was the case, if there's nothing out there and if the child gets bit, at least you have something to go back to. The caretaker, what kind of cat was it? Well, it was a cat about yo big, he was white, had you know, white little pretty nose. I can go to the caretaker and say, hey, do you have kind of like this, that? Well, yeah, okay, or I can ask the person, did you notice how much, a centimeter or what?
About a centimeter, between a
So
centimeter
you'll
and a
know,
quarter.
you'll know the difference,
The
right?
left ear.
So the left ear, so I can sit back and say, was the ear? Yeah, okay, so then your chances, at least you know the cat has been vaccinated, for that.
Right. Most
At
colonies,
least I have something to go to or somebody to go to. Right now, there is nothing. Nothing.
most colony caretakers actually keep very detailed records of their cats, and will often have a photograph. So, that'll give, in a scenario like that, if someone was hurt by a cat in a particular area, they would be able to look at photos and say, yeah, that was the cat.
And once a colony is established, because I've done a lot of research for the con, as you can tell.
Okay.
Do people say, no, other cats don't come into it. That's not true.
They do.
Other cats do come into it.
They do, but right now, that's happening already, because the colonies, we have to understand that the cats are already there. And right now, they're not being watched, they're not being monitored, they're not being, spayed and neutered or vaccinated. So they're already there, and the danger is already there. What we're trying to propose is a way for you to get them fixed so that the colony site is not going to grow, so you're not going to be overrun in 3 years with, 40,000 cats instead of the 2,000 that you have now. They will multiply, and it's only going to get worse if we do nothing. It gives you an opportunity to get them vaccinated, and you have your records, and I totally lost my train of thought. But, so you were saying, about the cats coming in. Right, it's happening now, nobody's watching it. With the caregivers, they're gonna have a record, they're gonna have their photos, these are my cats, these are the ones I know that got fixed, and when a new one comes in, at least there'll be somebody there saying, new one came in.
But, all right, when a new one comes in, then those people, caregivers
They're
will
gonna
feed that
trap
cat
it,
too.
they're gonna trap it, and try to find out where it came from, if they can.
If it's friendly,
If it's
they're gonna
friendly, it will be
adopt it
adopted out. If it's not friendly, if it's truly feral, it'll be spayed and neutered and vaccinated and ear-tipped, and it'll be.
Has anybody done any studies on home values? If I was going to move into a town, I would kind of check that out to see what kind of ordinances they had about that.
Sure.
And if I was looking at a home, and they said, oh yeah, well, there's a feral, established legal feral cat colony next to there, I'm not buying it.
I don't know that there have been studies done on that, but my question to you would be, if there's nothing, what's going to happen to your property value if we do nothing? Because then you're going to have even more cats in your neighborhood in a few years.
And
So-
if you have a policy that those cats have to be fixed, like I was saying, that the smell of male cat urine that's not neutered is disgusting. When that cat is fixed, that smell goes away.
Thank you. Somebody is going around. Again, it seems like the anonymous things are going around lately, okay? I had a phone call. Matter of fact, I had a discussion with two people about, the reason why I'm against this is because my next door neighbor is going to build 10 little houses to keep these feral cats in. Wrong. Feral cats are not going to be living next door to you in little houses or little sheds or whatever. They're living on the railroad tracks, they're living in abandoned buildings, so I wouldn't want to buy a house that's next to an abandoned building. They're living out in factory areas, they're living in the apartment complexes because of the dumpsters. There's not the person who's going around telling somebody that, I'm going to be a caregiver and I'm going to build these 10 little houses in the back of my house on my property is wrong.
They're not going to be allowed to build 10
No.
more, because most of the research says you are to provide shelter for them.
Discreet.
Right,
Discreet shelter.
right.
The what?
It's not,
Discreet shelter.
it's not going to be, you come to my house and there's 10 little houses. No. It's
These
ba-
caregivers are not going to do that.
No,
They don't already have little houses.
no.
What I mean,
Not that I know of. But again, I don't know what the problem, I know there's a problem, but I don't know of the, I have seen up by the railroad tracks by Linden Road, that the people in that area, the caretaker went out and put a piece of plywood over a couple of small trees where they go underneath the plywood, for the rain. But they're not building houses, they're not building little shelters, unless, like you said, you have an abandoned building, abandoned garage. We had that problem on Chestnut Street with the raccoons, the possums, and the cats all living together in this guy's garage. So, no, whoever's out there, I wish they would come either talk to me personally or just stop the vicious rumor, because that's what's going around. They're not going to be building condos for the cats. They're just not. They're going to be out in the areas along the railroad tracks, or you guys on Seton Avenue, Linden Road, Webster Gardens. Yes, sir.
On my block, we have about 5 or 6 cats that we know the home that they go to, we know how they're treated, and they're always around. They're always outside, and they're always around. They're in my yard, or in the yard, doing whatever they do, leaving feces around. But you're telling me, I came in late in the game, but it sounds like you're saying if you take care of these cats, if you spade them, you neuter them, whatever you have to do to them, they can still stay running around.
Yes. That's
I don't like that.
Yeah, but excuse
That's-
me,
that's-
are those cats,
It's better if you
are
fix
those
them.
cats fixed?
I don't care. I mean, it's better that they are, yes, I agree, because they can't make,
Everybody has their opinion, everybody has their right.
I say yes, it's better that they're fixed, because they can't obviously mutilate and make more, but I don't want the cat around.
Okay, can
All
I?
right, hold on.
So, let me finish,
Hold on, everybody.
I want to finish this. Before anybody says anything else, please, let me finish. Okay? Now, this particular household, they have little things in front of the house for the cats to climb around in and go inside. So the house, they always congregate back to that house for feeding. But in the winter, they're in my covered patio. Okay? And like they're everywhere other than there the rest of the day. These are the things that I don't like. I like that they've been fixed. They took a collection up around the neighborhood to get money to get the cats fixed. Obviously, they were able to catch them. Okay? No, I didn't. Oh, I didn't get any money.
We didn't give money.
How long have these cats been there?
Oh, long.
Years. And it's 4 or 5 cats. I haven't seen them accumulate more. I haven't seen kittens, and I haven't
She
seen...
probably has 3 inside the house.
Right.
That are
Now,
legitimate
granted,
cats.
this might be a very small little situation compared to what other problems are, okay? A lot of times in the spring, when your windows are open and you're trying to sleep at night, they're outside fighting. I guess whatever they're doing, they're having a cat fight.
That sounds like they're.
Okay.
may not be fixed.
So, I'm just saying,
So if we're hearing screaming in the middle of the night?
They may not be fixed.
well then, whatever this particular neighbor said they did, maybe they didn't really do, they just said it so that I would think they did something. I don't know, and I'm not making trouble with them. I just don't think that taking care of something and then just let it keep running around, it's like having big dogs running around. You know, you still got these animals running
I'm
around.
saying, but the problem is there's so many cats out there. Carl is one guy. You guys probably have, 1,500, 2,000 cats in the township of, is it township?
Borough.
All right, so if I get traps and I trap the cat,
There's no way that he can possibly, there's no way you can possibly trap all of them.
if I trap these cats that are near me, first of all, I'm gonna have an altercation with my neighbor, which I'm not gonna wanna have to have.
Right.
But if I do trap the cats and I bring them to Woodbridge, you said? I have to bring them there.
No.
I can't bring them to the town and let the town do that? If I call up you and I
Basically
say,
what'll happen is, yes,
call you up, Carl, I
Yes.
got a cat to trap?
yes.
Okay.
That's the deal that we made with Woodbridge to cut the cost, to you, the taxpayer, that I come out and I do what I can to alleviate. You've heard in the video, I'm sorry, did you see?
We came in late, no.
Okay,
Sorry.
there's a cost factor.
Right.
Okay, it costs, if this guy's making $10 an hour, to drive the hour, half hour here, the hour back, so that's $10, the gas, the toll, the gas.
Understood.
There's a cost factor to the city of Woodbridge,
Right.
Township of Woodbridge. That's where I came in, when I made the deal, that I would look to say, look, I'll do whatever I can to alleviate the cost for you people, to keep the cost down for us, the taxpayers in Roselle Park. So that's what happened, yes. If you wanted to trap, you can come down here, we have 2 here in Borough Hall, and I have my own.
All right, so I
So-
can trap the cats, and I can have some, I don't want to see the cats get hurt. I don't want to do that, but I don't want the cats around.
That's what's
Wait,
gonna
I have a
happen, though.
question.
If you trap these
I,
cats. and
yes,
take them
I
to the
can
shelter,
I
then
can
you
give
do
you, I can give you the
As
trap,
long as I don't do it, I don't really care.
I can,
You are
yeah,
doing it, though.
but,
No, I'm not. No, I got a clear
Easy.
conscience, I'm not doing it.
no,
If
you want-
do it,
Huh?
can he legally trap a cat and bring it to a stray
Yes.
cat, a shelter?
yes,
Anybody can legally trap.
yes, it's your
Provide
property.
your own cat trap.
It's your property. Now, what happens is, the reason why I do it, before I come on your property, I have you sign a release that allows me to come onto your property. As a borough official,
You have
I-
to do that?
yes, I have to do it. In other words, if you were to come down to Borough Hall tomorrow and sign out a trap, they're gonna explain to you how to use it,
Okay.
okay? I got into a problem with one of the officials down here, you can't go on private property. Yes, I can. If the person wants me there, all I do is sign, and have him sign a release, which I've been doing for the last 5 years. So if you needed a trap, and Borough Hall didn't have them, I have my own. Carl, I trap, what I do ask is that I prefer to do it on a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday, because if I put the trap out on a weekday and I go to work, there are rules and regulations about an animal in a trap. There are temperatures and
I
for a
understand
time
that.
of year,
I
so
understand that.
if you needed it, I do that. But you gotta understand, the problem that I have is that when I take that trap and I bring it to Edison, within 6 days, nothing happens to that cat, it's euthanized. It's
Okay.
But now, if there's a problem that the cat is registered, and we have homeowners down here, then I can, I can sign a complaint.
Absolutely, I can sign it.
Yes.
I have no problem with that either.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I would like to say that, and I apologize for my chemical sensitivity. In terms of Googling Roselle Park, when one does that now, if one wants to move here, the first thing that comes up is animal cruelty, because it is on the national map, because of the attitudes of people who are anti-TNR and what they have done.
Gotta find that out.
I have received emails from Alley Cat Allies telling me to write to you to support TNR. It will be
To
all
be honest
over the
with you,
world.
To be honest with
And
you,
I am proud of that.
to be honest with
Because that
you,
means we have hearts.
to be honest with
Do you
you.
have no hearts?
Oh, no personal.
I got animals.
No, believe me when I'm telling you.
Humans, actually.
Believe me when I'm telling you.
Anyhow.
Believe me when I'm telling you. For the last couple of months, we put it out there, $16 million budget for Borough Roselle Park. And we advertise, please come to the meetings. I got 4 people.
Oh, I know, and I...
Trap, neuter, I say release.
Return,
Well-
because we're not just releasing them, we're putting them back where they came from.
Well,
And
now I got to correct my vocabulary.
So... I watched the meeting, and you had made a statement that nobody had said anything pro-TNR, and that's not true. I'm disabled, I was not able to come to the last meeting, and Mr. Majero...
No. You're entitled.
Perhaps I missed you coming in, but I felt strongly, this is my opinion. I am entitled to my opinion.
Yes, you are.
As you are entitled to
And
yours.
that's where it goes. But, I mean, I'll have to do that.
Trying to say something.
I'm sorry.
Whether you like cats or you hate cats, we're kind of on the same page, okay? What we want to see as animal welfare folks is less cats outside. What you guys want to see is less cats outside because of, other reasons.
Exactly.
So we're on the same page. If nothing is done to stabilize the number of cats that are out there now, then neither one of us is going to win. The cat population is going to grow, okay? The complaints are going to grow. You're going to have, if nobody's watching that colony, if there's no laws in place to say that those colonies have to be fixed, then there's going to be more pooping and more spraying, okay? So we really are, we have the same goal in mind. We all want to see less cats outside, okay? I'm pro TNR because I want to see less cats outside, not because I want cats living outside. It's really not the proper place for them. They all deserve a nice, comfy couch and a bed to sleep on.